So Friday, Wizards did something a little weird, and they actually sent out a warning, kind of giving us a heads up that there's going to be a Chaos Vault this coming Monday. And then today, we actually just received some more information, which was like a 24-hour warning email. But this one tells us a little bit more. So we knew it was going to be Brain Dead because there were some teasers or things that leaked out earlier in the week. But this artwork, at least on the email, kind of gives us an indication that we're going to see that same old retro frame that we saw in the previous Brain Dead artwork. And then down in the text, it also lets us know that it says that backed by popular demand, which I think is debatable. the previous Brain Dead Secret Lair wasn't all that popular, but some of them are pretty valuable now because they didn't sell very well. Anyhow, it tells us that they're reimagining 10 magic cards in one drop with 2 editions, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that means that there's going to be two 5-card Secret Lairs or 2 10-card Lairs with 2 different versions of them or something like that. So there's a link to the Brain Dead website that kind of starts to give us a little bit more information. On there, there's a bunch of artwork on Brain Dead shirts and stuff like that. Crazy prices. If you guys have never seen Brain Dead stuff, it's ludicrous. Anyhow, what we do see though, there are playmats, and they have 4 playmats that have current Magic card names. Of those, there is Master of the Feast, Mirror Entity, Secure Tribe Elder, which, Steve, Mirren, the Moaning Well, and all of those are previous Magic cards. And then there's some other playmats which are kind of unusual. So they have a couple that are like Brain Dead with Machine Girl, which is like a weird combination art. I don't know if some of those are going to be cards that we're going to see or anything like that. There's a Coveted Orb, which, funny enough, sounds like it would be a Magic card. It's got some interesting art. And then there's a few cards down at the bottom that are actually old Magic cards. Specifically, there's Berserk, and there is a Guardian Beast. Those are Magic cards, just like we saw at the top of the page, but what's weird about these is these actually use the original art from back in the day. So that's kind of unusual. I don't know the story there. So I'm not really sure how we're going to hit the total of 10 cards. But what we can do, at least, we can kind of cover the 4 cards that we know that are going to be there, right? So we have Master of the Beast, Mirror Entity, Secure Tribe Elder, and Mirren, the Moaning Well. So for pricing on this, I'll just go ahead and touch on all these. The Master of the Feast, I think I said Beast a few times here. Master of the Feast is $3.85 for the non-foil, $9.32 for foil. Mirror Entity is going to be 58 cents for the non-foil, $13.77 for a foil, because that's only been printed in foil a few times back in the day. Secure Tribe Elder Steve, he's base price of 25 cents, $3.42 for the cheapest foil, and then Mirren the Moaning Well is $18.50 for the base card and $94.74 for the cheapest foil. A couple of things to note though: Master of the Feast and Mirren Moaning Well, they've never been reprinted at all. So both of those cards are going to be kind of unusual, especially with different art. And then Mirror Entity, even though it's been reprinted a bunch of times, it's never actually been reprinted with anything but the original art. There's one version that has like a retro frame, but it's still the same art. So that's never seen a borderless or extended art or anything unique, another Secret Lair or anything. Now Steve's Secure Tribe Elder, that one has seen a couple different versions of artwork, obviously, and it does have a previous Secret Lair. It's also got a borderless promo card that was given out at game stores and stuff, but it's not, I shouldn't even call it a borderless. It's actually a full art because it has no text or anything. So Steve, his previous Secret Lair pricing currently, like what you can get them, is $12.03 for regular, and then $13.03 for foil, which is a little different than we saw with the previous pricing, right? 25 cents and $3.42 for the foil. And I'd say that the Secret Lairs, even it's heavily dependent on what people's opinion on the art is, but I suspect that we're going to see that these things end up being somewhere in between the two, right? It's not going to be a 25-cent card, but it's probably also not going to be $12 because that's a pretty cool looking Secret Lair. And I'm not sure. I actually like the art on this one, but I don't know that this is going to look very... The reason why the Brain Deads weren't all that popular before is they used the retro frames and they use crazy art, which is funny because the crazy art actually looks like old Magic cards and stuff. But anyhow, total values, non-foil for the cheapest versions is $23.18. For the foil, because of that Mirren, and because of the Mirror Entity, the foil price is going to be $121.25. But if we figure in those Secret Lair cards, it's actually going to be $34.96 and $130.86 for the foil. I think that Mirren, the Moaning Well, I think that's going to be an interesting card because, for one, it's never been reprinted. It's a popular card, and it's actually really come in at the perfect time because like we've already seen a lot of support for big butt decks and big butt cards and stuff from the last few sets, not just one. Like we got the new Dorn Besieged by Time, we got the Ancient Atomos from Final Fantasy, we also got that Beator Kin to All, and those are just a few highlighted cards. There's a bunch of other big butt stuff, including a deck that kind of focus on that. With the Beator Kin to All, there's a few cards in that deck as well. So I think that Mirren, even we're not going to see that $94 foil value, but I do wonder if the Mirren Secret Lair version is actually going to end up being worth more than that original print, or at least similar for the non-foil version. Anyhow, so I mean, it's still, this is only 4 of the cards that they seem to be alluding to of the 10 Magic cards. So it's really hard to say. And are we going to see them reprint a couple old reserve cards in here? Is that what, like why do we have those reserveless cards in the playmat artwork and stuff that they just released? Anyhow, figured I'd give everybody a heads up ahead of time. All this stuff's going to pop up tomorrow, Monday, the 23rd, and it's going to be noon Eastern time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time. So it can give you an idea of when it's going to pop up. You can jump in a little bit ahead of time and get in line if you're interested. I'm not sure if I'm interested or not. I don't know if I want to spend the money after all these sets and stuff and all these layers that we've had. But I am a little interested in the artwork for the Steve, and I am interested in the card, the Mirror and the Moaning Well. But really what the big variable is going to be is, what about the other 6 cards? What else are we going to see? So it's really going to just depend on how that goes. You'd think that because I like the retro frame stuff, that I would like these, but last time the frame that they use is because they use a different color. It doesn't actually look like an old retro card. I'd actually prefer if they didn't recolor the frame and they actually stuck with the traditional frame, especially with these artworks that look like old Magic cards. They'd actually be really cool. But anyhow, this is Binder Miner. We'll talk to you guys later.